Cool. I think we can get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet another talk in the Delhibird series. Today, we're going to be talking about the birds of the Kashmir Valley. To get things started, I'll hand it over to Atul, who will introduce the speaker, Irfan, and then Irfan can take over. Atul, over to you.
Thanks, Kavi. So first of all, thanks to all the Delhi birders who have joined and who are about to join. And let's take this opportunity to welcome Irfan. Uh, and he's joining all the way from exotic place, an exotic town of Srinagar. Irfan has been birding in and around Kashmir for, I would say at least couple of years. And he started very early in his life when he was trekking along with his cousin, Dr. Haroon. And that's where he picked up his, love for flora and fauna. And then he took an opportunity to launch Birds of Kashmir, a birding club, when there was a lockdown. So I think it was a right opportunity to get this hotspot into birding destination. Uh, and basically introduce the birds of Kashmir to different people. My understanding of Kashmir birding is that well, I mean to say there have been some publications in the past, but I think the number of birders who are actually visiting Kashmir are not in such a big numbers. Uh, for various reasons. I mean to say there are no bird guides available. There are no birding destinations and hotspots, where you can find birds. That information is available, and as such, the climate is very harsh. But nonetheless, I think that has been changed, in last 2 years. And now we have so many birders on the ground who are reporting some of the most exotic species, which Irfan is going to talk about. Irfan is a postgraduate in anthropology and disaster management. And fundamentally, I think the more important thing is that he took that initiative to put Kashmir on the birding map. How can there be a talk of birds without food? So I was talking to him and I was trying, okay, what was your favorite, places to eat? So he said, Adus in Srinagar and Punjabi Rasoi in Pelgam is something he would highly recommend. And I can actually vouch for Adus because that is one place which all the meat eaters, even the vegetarians, should visit, on their visit to Srinagar. I think his dream is to find, long-billed bush warbler, which has been quite an enigmatic bird from Kashmir. So let's hope that he can find one and he can find the location and he can show it to all of us. So again, Irfan, welcome again, and over to Irfan to basically introduce us for birding in Valley of Kashmir.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to all of you. First of all, let me thank Delhibird Foundation, Nikhil sir, Atul sir, for giving me an opportunity to present before you the beautiful experience of birding in beautiful Vale of Kashmir. And today, let's take this journey along. And I'm hopeful that you'll like my presentation today. Although I tried to touch main topics today, but could not cover all of them, obviously. So hope you'll bear me out. Let us start. Birding in the Vale of Kashmir. So these are the contents of my journey. I'll be discussing geography of the valley. It's only the valley part. Then important birding hotspots, important bird species. Then I'll be discussing Kashmir as an important flyway zone. Some interesting stories of birding and conservation, and some challenges that are before us. So, as I said, this is not all, this is just the basics of what I wanted to convey to you all, or as I would say it in Urdu couplet, मेरा अंदाज़ बयां कहीं परेशान न कर दे तुझको, मेरा अंदाज़ बयां कहीं परेशान न कर दे तुझको, यही सोच के कभी खामोश हो जाता हूँ, वरना कहने को तो बहुत कुछ है. So let us start. First, let me start with the geography of the Kashmir Valley. If you see, this is the erstwhile Jammu Kashmir state located at the top of the Indian mainland. And this is the main valley actually that you see at the bottom of the screen. And if I can clearly show you, this is the main Kashmir Valley, surrounded by the Himalayas. On the south and on the west side of it are the middle Himalaya, Pir Panchal range to be more precise of it. And on the north, we have the greater Himalayas. And in between Himalayas lies this vast expanse of land, a valley, and called as Kashmir Valley. And if you can see, this Kashmir Valley is actually the remnant of an ancient lake basin, 140 kilometers long and 32 kilometers wide, and the river Jhelum flowing in between the valley. So this is it. It is an ancient lake basin, 140 kilometers long, 32 kilometers wide, and altitude of around 5,300 feet, surrounded by Pir Panchal and Great Himalayas. I want to uh, discuss one thing here, that is the valley of this magnitude is not found anywhere in the Himalayas. So this provides an opportunity for us to explore, because this magnitude of this valley uh, is not found anywhere in Himalayas. So we have an amazing habitat diversity. We have karibas here, we have dense pine forests, lakes, wetlands, grasslands, high altitude meadows that I'll be talking about, mixed deciduous forests, extra. I'll be taking up those. Now, let us discuss some of the important birding hotspots. Though some of the hotspots everybody knows, but I have touched some of the unknown or unpopular, less known birding hotspots in this presentation. This is a map that shows the distribution of hotspots. Hotspot 1, as you can see, is the Dachigam National Park and the surrounding areas. Then in its vicinity is the hotspot number 2, the Dal, its catchment, and the Zabarwan range. I'll be explaining each of the hotspot in detail, just giving you an idea where they actually are located. Then we have the hotspot number 3. These are located at the bottom of the screen. It is actually the Usmarg side, Usmarg and Budgam side. Then hotspot number 4, it is the Hokersar wetland. Then we have the hotspot number 5, one of my favorites. This is the Voller Lake, the famous Voller Lake. Then we have the 6th hotspot. This is the Sindh Valley actually, and I'll be explaining it in detail about the Sindh Valley. But then, if you see this valley, it goes deep inside the Himalayas. Important birding hotspot. Then we have the 7th one at the bottom of the screen on the right. This is the Lidr Valley. Again, it goes deep into the Himalayas. And on the other side of it lies the Zanskar and the Kargil side. Then we have this is the hotspot number 7. Then we have the hotspot number 8 on the north. We have the Kupwara and the Bangas Valley, the famous Bangas Valley, very less explored region of the Kashmir. Then 9th hotspot, this is the Gurez and Tulel Valley that I'll be talking about in detail. Okay. Now let us start with the Dachigam National Park at first. Dachigam National Park, I'm sure everyone who visits Kashmir visits Dachigam National Park. This was the only birding destination for quite a long time because people uh, and birders or any nature lover who used to visit Kashmir visited Dachigam National Park only. But it is an important birding hotspot. It is some 22 kilometers from Srinagar. It covers an area of around 141 square kilometers. Declared a national park in 1981, its altitude ranges between 5,500 feet to 14,000 feet. So, if you can see its extent from 5,500 feet to 14,000 feet, it has a variety of microhabitats in it that I'll be talking about, showing you pictures. And according to the eBird, we have 179 bird species reported from Dachigam National Park. It is famous for hangul, as you know, the Kashmiri stag, black bear, Himalayan black bear, orange bullfinch. Once this it was assumed that orange bullfinch is only found in Dachigam National Park in Kashmir. But then we were able to explore and locate its locations at numerous places. Spectacle, finch, extra. These are only the rare birds. We have other varieties like flycatchers and everything that goes inside. I'll be showing you how the habitat looks inside Dachigam National Park. This is the grassland of Upper Dachigam, in which hangul normally is seen, and variety of small birds like buntings, extra. And the picture is taken in the autumn, and you can see it from the colors. Autumn is my favorite season in Kashmir. And then same grassland, as you can see, it is after the first snowfall. Same grassland after the first snowfall. You can see the view. Then this is the lower Dachigam, and you can see from the picture the habitat it has, thorny bushes and deciduous trees, and you can expect the birds there, the flycatchers and all, chestnut thrushes and all. This is Dachigam National Park. I have not discussed it that much because Dachigam National Park, I think, one, as I said, जो भी कश्मीर आता है दाचीगाम तो होके आता है ये. Then we have the second birding hotspot. There's Dal Lake and the Zabarwan Hills. This is very important birding hotspot, located in Srinagar only. The Dal Lake has a shoreline of 15.155 kilometers, and it is the winter destination of migratory birds. A lot of migratory birds visit Dal Lake, and we have 122 bird species reported from Dal Lake, according to the eBird. Now, the Dal Lake and its catchment is very important. It has in its catchment we have three main destinations. One is the Shankaracharya Hills, and Shankaracharya Hills has an amazing bird diversity, and it is less disturbed, and we can see Kashmir flycatcher there with ease in Shankaracharya Hills. And then there are reports, some previous reports of long-eared owl from Shankaracharya Hills as well. Then we have the botanical gardens. It's again very important birding destination in Srinagar, and we were able to our senior birder Jagjeet Sarji. He was able to record Blythe's rose finch from botanical gardens and other birds as well. And then we have the what we call it Zabarwan Mountains. Zabarwan Mountains is also very important birding destination, and these are the expected species that we find in these areas. We had reed bunting there, reported this year, little bittern, Kashmir flycatcher, osprey. We were able to record osprey after so many years in from Dull, Palace's gull also, and the black rose finch. This is the Dull. Again, the photo has been taken from autumn season. And this is our team. We are in the lap of Zabarban Hills, and you can see the micro habitat, the rocky terrains there, and surrounded by a lake and then a dense forest on the other side of it. Then we have the third hotspot, that's the Usmag. And Usmag is very, very important birding hotspot as it turned out to be. It is some 47 kilometers south of the Srinagar. Its average elevation is 2,396 meters. It has amazing bird diversity. It is not just the Usmag, the catchment of the Usmag is also very important. You can sight birds like Kashmir nuthatch, white-cheeked nuthatch, Kashmir nutcracker easily. Very easy to spot these birds in Usmag. And then we have the catchment of Usmag. Catchment of Usmag is also very important. It includes the areas like Nilnag, like Chadura town, and from there the Karibas. We have the Karibas, and we had some amazing bird sightings this year, like bramblings, pine buntings, yellowhammer, tawny owl extra from this area only. This is the view of Karibas of adjoining Usmag area, and the photo is taken by the Sahran Malik, one of the budding photographers of the region. And these are the apricot blossoms actually. And at the background, these are the Pir Panchal trees. This is the Nilnag Lake. We visited quite a number of times this year to this place, and this is a very good place for Kashmir nutcracker. You can find Kashmir nutcracker in the forests of the Nilnag region. This again falls in the catchment of the Usmag, frozen Nilnag. Then we have the another important birding hotspot. That is the Hokersar wetland. It is some 10 kilometers northwest of the Srinagar. It is a Ramsar wetland with an area of 13.75 square kilometers, altitude of around 1,584 meters above sea level. It is a staging ground for medium and long distance migratory shorebirds, geese, cranes, and ducks. Very important. We had number of good recordings from this hotspot. Those who know about the birds found in Kashmir, I have mentioned here cranes. We don't have recent records of cranes, but there is a surprise for you in this presentation ahead. And we have 148 species reported from eBird, according to the eBird from Hokersar. And we were able to, this year, tundra swans visited the Hokersar wetland, and there were yellowhammer, spine bunting, not to mention other shorebirds and waterfowl extra. This is how it looks, the Hokersar wetland. You can see the density of the water birds there, the ducks. This is the catchment of Hokersar wetland, and we were able to cite some rarities there this year. Little bunting was first from the valley. This is the same day when we spotted little bunting there, and this is the catchment, and this is our team. These are the tundra swans that visited the Hokersar wetland this year. Then we have the Volor Lake. If you ask me, my favorite location in Kashmir, as per the hotspots goes, and this is the Volor Lake. Although in old literature, much has been talked about the Volor and its bird diversity, but in recent times, people have not been able to visit the place because most of the areas in the Volor Lake are inaccessible. But with wildlife department and there is a Volor Conservation Authority called as WUCMA, we had some talks with them about the exploration of the site, and they facilitated us, and we were able to visit the lake, not explore it fully, but I'm hopeful this year we will be able to explore it full and report some amazing species from there. It is one of the largest freshwater lakes in Asia, as you know, area of 189 square kilometers, average elevation of 1580 meters, again a Ramsar site. It is 62.8 kilometers from Srinagar. Important staging and wintering ground for migratory birds. I was able to click white-tailed eagle from this place, Eurasian curlew, osprey. There are ancient records of Lasse's fish eagle from this side, and long-eared owl. We were able to report it from Volar catchment. This is the view of the Volar Lake, as you can see on the screen. These are the fishermen. This is early morning, and they are ready to go into the lake for fishing, all day expedition fishing, and the view it just mystifies. It's divine and serene. This is white-tailed eagle that I was able to click last year after so many years. It was reported previously as well, but not photographed. But I was lucky enough to photograph it last year. Then we have another birding hotspot, Sindh Valley. This is from where I belong to. I live in a village in Sindh Valley. It is one of the sub-valleys of the main Kashmir Valley. It is some 33 kilometers northeast of Srinagar. The valley is actually 1 kilometer wide and 65 kilometers long, and I consider it as an important flyway zone for migratory birds. And I have been able to record a number of species from this valley. A common red start that I was able to click last year, blackstock, ibisbill, tawny owls, nuthatch, grosbeaks, golden eagle, petrarch's extra. This is very important birding hotspot of Kashmir. This is where the valley ends. This is the Baltal region. This is where the valley ends and the Great Himalaya. You can see the Great Himalayan mountains, and this is the Zojula Pass on the left side, and you cross over to the Dras, Ladakh sector. This is Sindh Valley in winters. Moving to my next hotspot, that's the Lidr Valley. This is again the sub-valley of the main Kashmir Valley. It is some 62 kilometers northeast of Srinagar. The valley is 40 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. Again, an important flyway zone. A lot of species recorded from there. Black stork, pied wheatear, orange bullfinch. This is the summer breeding ground of orange bullfinches, Kashmir flycatcher extra. This is the photograph of the Pahalgam and the Lidr Valley. Actually, the river Lidr flowing through the valley. The photo by Jagjeet Singh ji. Then we have the Bangas Valley. This is very important. The Bangas Valley, this lies north of the Kashmir, and this is the least explored region of the Kashmir Valley, the North Kashmir. Actually, I have kept it heading as Bangas Valley, but it is not just the Bangas Valley. It is the Lolab Valley. We have the Lolab Valley and the Bangas Valley together. This is again the sub-Himalayan valley of the main Kashmir Valley. In Bangas Valley, there is a meadow called as Bangas Meadow. It is some 150 kilometers from Srinagar and lies at an altitude of 10,000 feet above sea level. It is an important summer birding destination. If you want to come in summers for birding, this is one of the best destinations in summers. And this is very famous for finches, pheasants, western trigon extra. This is the Bangas Valley. You can see the expanse of the valley. Then last, that is the Kuris and the Tulel Valley. Again, least explored region of the Kashmir Valley, sub-Himalayan valley. It lies at a good altitude. This is some 200 kilometers from Srinagar. This is again the summer destination if somebody wants to come. And it lies at an altitude of 9,220 feet above sea level. And this Gurez and Tilel Valley is the catchment of Mushko Valley in Dras. Very important birding hotspot in Kargil and Dras region, Mushko Valley. And the other side of it, it lies at the LOC, and the other side of the Kashmir, we have the Deosai National Park. That's its catchment, a store valley in other side of the Kashmir. So very less is known about its bird diversity, and we can expect some good birds at this altitude in this Gurez and Tilel Valley, and this is again very good destination for summer birding. And we can expect golden eagle, lemurrier, Himalayan snowcock, Caddisbill extra that are already reported from Gurez and Tilel Valley. This was about the. This is the Tilel Valley, the famous Habakatun Peak. You can see Habakatun Peak, and these are the fields there. This is again, you can have the overview of the valley, how it looks. Now, moving to important bird species, that was the birding hotspots. We have now the important bird species that I'll be talking about. The first in the list is the Kashmir nutcracker. This is again very important bird when you come to birding in Kashmir, and the best place to see it is in Gusmarg. But then, if you are lucky, in autumn, I have noticed it in its behavior that it descends down and visits the patch, walnut patch. And what it does, it comes there and takes away the walnuts, as you can see in the picture. It's taking away walnuts and collecting it for winters. And this is the best time to see Kashmir nutcracker in autumns. It comes very down, and you can get very good shots of this bird. And if you can see its range, this is its range from the literature. Kashmir, then we have the northern area of Pakistan all the way to Afghanistan. But there are records from Himachal as well, some records from Himachal as well. But in Kashmir, you can easily find it. In autumn, you have very good sightings in Usmarg. In Usmarg, you can see it all the year round. And in autumn, you can see it in every forest that has the walnut patch in it. Then moving next is the Kashmir nuthatch. Very one of my favorite birds in Kashmir nuthatch. And as you can see from the pictures how beautiful it is. And one of my friends says it did not had a Kashmiri name previously, but one of my friends who is a scholar in Kashmiri has named it as the Sarmasir. Sarma is actually the kajal. Seer is when you have a lot of kajal around your eyes, and you can see that it is full of kajal. So its name was as suggested by him as Sarmasir. And it is also found in plenty in Kashmir. Previously, we were not able to see it that often, but with a lot of people coming into the birding, we have been able to report it from everywhere now. Usmarg is a very good place to see it. Then in north of the Kashmir, Kupwara, you can see it with ease. In Sindh Valley and Ridhir Valley, you can see it. And the best thing and interesting thing about Kashmir nuthatch is that in summers, you will find it in the pine patch, dense pine trees. And in winters, it prefers walnut patch. It prefers walnut trees. So if you are there in winters and want to see the Kashmir nuthatch, and you see walnut patch near a pine forest, and you can easily find it there. This is its range. There are some record from Nepal side as well. Kashmir has it. Then all the way from northern areas of Pakistan to Afghanistan, it has its range. Then moving another very important bird species, that is the tawny owl, and this is one of my favorite clicks of tawny owl. This is when me and Sarvandeep sir were together, and we were able to see the Ullu and Ulluka Patta together in a forest, and this was one of the best sights that I ever see there. And the tawny owl, I have been studying about the tawny owl, and I have a story to share with you later in the presentation as well. And tawny owls, uh, I believe in every village of Kashmir we have an owl there, especially where there are big chinar trees. We've easily find tawny owls in it. This is its strange, although it's found in Europe as well. But I believe the owl found in this region, in North Kashmir and northern areas of Pakistan, I'm sure this must be uh, subspecies and may be separated further in due course of the time. I must tell you one behavior of tawny owl here. That normally tawny owl and crows, they don't get well. Whenever the owls are there in the open, the crows attack it and other birds attack it. But I have seen how tawny owl shared its nest with Eurasian jackdaw. I have photographs taken of them as well. They were sharing their nest, and tawny owl had a juvenile in it, and then Eurasian jackdaws used to occupy the front part of the nest, and the back side of the nest was occupied by tawny owl. Then we have the Kashmir flycatcher, the rare beauty of Kashmir. This is the male in breeding plumage, and it glows like a lamp. When you see it inside a bush, it glows like a lamp, and it's a bird with such a charisma. And Kashmir flycatcher is seen at various locations now, and Shankaracharya is the best place to see it. And then I was able to record it from Sindh Valley as well, and some of the birders recorded it from Kupwara as well. This is its strange, as you know, that it only it has it summers here and winters in south, all the way to Sri Lanka and Kotagiri, but it breeds in Kashmir. Then we have the orange bullfinch, very popular bird among the birders, and one who, anyone who wants to visit Kashmir for birding has orange bullfinch in his wish list. And orange bullfinch uh, was thought to be found only in Dachigam, but now we are able to reported from numerous locations uh, in and around Dachigam as well, and from Pahalgam as well. One of our birders, it's very important to mention here, one of our birders, Mansoor Ahmad, he was able to report it from Patni Top as well this year. This is its range from Uttarakhand all the way to Afghanistan, Pakistan-Afghanistan border. But in Kashmir, and if you are here in winters, you can easily find it all along the Dal and its catchment. And in summers, we have been reporting it from Pahalgam and Ardu Valley. Then we have the Blythe's rosefinch. This was something very special this year. Our veteran birder Jagjeet Singh ji was able to report it from botanical gardens. This is the female and this is the male, Blythe's rosefinch. This is its range. It's found all along the Himalayas. But then This was something special this year. We were able to um, report it for the first time in Kashmir. Then we have the little bittern, the summer visitor in Dal. Actually, not only from Dal, it has been reported from Manasbal lakes as well, from catchments of the Hokersar lake as well. Very beautiful bird. This is its distribution map, and it summers in Kashmir. And the best place to see it is in Dal. Very good population. We had a very good population visiting Dal this year. Then we have the reed bunting. Again, this was reported this year, and a lot of photographers were able to click it from the catchments of the Dal. This is the distribution map, something found in mainland India as well, but then it is a rare bird. Then this was a surprise of the year. We were able to sight tundra swans this year at the Hokersar Lake. This is distribution. It does not show Kashmir, but there are old records about it. Some 70 years back, we had tundra swans visiting Kashmir. Then I'll be moving to the next of my topic, that is the Kashmir Valley as an important flyway zone. Now, why I say that the Kashmir Valley is an important flyway zone is because of the two, three reasons. One of the important reasons is that we were able to locate some of the birds which were not previously seen in Kashmir, like common red start, black stalks, extra, and even domicile cranes as well. And the reason I'm saying that it is an important flyway zone, and if birders are there, there is so much of the opportunity to explore and find new things, is because three of the valleys that I talked in my caption of hotspots, that Sindh Valley, Lidr Valley, and the Bangas or Lola Valley, they they penetrate deep into the Himalayas. And on the other side of the Himalayas, we have the Ladakh plateau and the other areas. So these birds use these routes for migration, and if you are lucky enough, you can see number of passage migrants in these valleys. And three flyway zones that I have noticed, that is Sindh Valley, Lidr Valley, Bandipora as well, and Kupwara. And we have been able to record common red start, black stalk, black red start, brown center, domicile cranes as well along these routes. And this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I believe if these valleys are well explored, and if there are some bird watchers who keenly are there to watch the birds, I'm sure there are some surprises in store for all of us. Then I'll be discussing some important stories of birding and conservation. Let me start first. My first story about the nature shop and the bird book library that we were able to establish at Srinagar. It was actually one of our veteran birder, Jagjeet Singh ji. During the lockdown, when I started Birds of Kashmir, he approached me and with an idea that he wanted to do something as a hobby, as a passion, and told me that he has a shop in Srinagar and it's useless. He's not using it, and we discussed the idea, and we were able to set up a nature shop in Srinagar. What we did there, I'll show you. We put bird houses there. We put photographic frames of the birders there, so that people can come there visit there, take bird feeders, and we had this in mind, that this be uh, what we call it, an adda of birders, where birders come, chat to each other, have some tea together. And then at the same time, we had this concept, we had this in mind, to put something, to do something for our youngsters. And we worked on an idea of establishing bird book library at the nature shop. That we did finally, and we were able to establish a library at nature shop. And the books were a lot of them donated by birders all around the India. We had books donated by Sarvandeep Singh ji, then Sarita Subramaniam ma'am. Then we had the books donated by Trupti Shah ma'am. We had books from Harish Thangraj ji and others as well. And we were able to establish a bird book library in Srinagar at the nature shop. So this is something that makes us proud as a birders. Then we have another story of trapping parakeets. Uh, when I started the Birds of Kashmir, my aim was not to record birds and to photograph it. That is one of the motto, but that's not the only motto. My motto was to bring a society that is environmentally very concerned, to bring to train people, to make them understand how birds are important to us, and how in our fragile ecosystem how birds play their part. And there is a story about one such member from Birds of Kashmir, that was Mansoor Ahmad Seyar Sahab. He's not a birder. He's just an ordinary citizen living in the Srinagar, and just had developed love for birds after being in touch with Birds of Kashmir Facebook group. And there was a time that people did not notice their surroundings, but he was very aware, very vigilant to notice his surroundings, and reported to me that one of his neighbors was setting traps to trap parakeets and then sell them to the market. He approached me, and I then contacted the wildlife department, and we were able to remove the traps from there. This is the story that I then carried in Birds of Kashmir, and this is the man, Mansoor Saab, who did it. And this is how I feel this is the success. This is the success of Birds of Kashmir, that we are able to sanitize people about the importance of birds. He saw it in his neighborhood that somebody was trapping parakeets and selling it to some other people, and he was quick to report it to me. And then we reported it to the wildlife department, and together we were able to set these parakeets free and remove the traps from there. So this is one of the success stories of Birds of Kashmir. Then I want to share another story, that is the dramatic rescue of Tony Owl by Wajid and Jafar. Wajid and Jafar are two of my students and very good birders, young birders. And Atul sir was with me some years back. To a site, he wanted to see the Tony Owl, and we were able to see it. So he knows the locality. So actually, I had been watching the Tony Owl, this particular Tony Owl, from 2 3 years, actually 4 years actually. And I used to visit very often to this place to see if Tony Owl was there and how it was doing. But last year, I visited the place to confirm if it is there. But while talking to the locals, they told me that they have not seen Tony Owl for some time now. And then I inquired about it from the children and locals. They were not able to give any clue about it when they actually saw it. Then I send my students, the Jafar and Wajid, to go to that place and to see if it is there or not, some time back. And then they went there and they were told that this tawny owl that lived there, it was its nesting and roosting place. They were told that somebody wants to sell tawny owl. He has caught this tawny owl and wants to sell. They went there, and it was really shocking to see the condition of the tawny owl. And these are some of the pictures that I'm going to share with you. This is the nails have been chopped off, as you can see. These are the nails that we were able to recover. The tail is broken. This was the condition of the tawny owl that I had been watching over for I think at least 4 years. And the reason why they had done this is because some of the myths that are there in our society, that if you have the nails of the owl, the evil eye will not harm you, and then the diseases will not attack you and all that. Since the COVID was beginning to take its shape, so people might have thought that keeping these nails with them will spare them from COVID. And then we were able to rescue it and hand it over to the wildlife department. As you can see, we were able to rescue it from the hands of the people and hand it over to the wildlife department. But uh, the saddest part of the story is that we were told that the owl did not survive. Now we have some challenges that I want to discuss with you, and this is very important part of the presentation. Although I skipped a lot of the things, but this is something very, very important, and that is all about poaching. We, as a society, have not grown that much. We are still poaching our winter migrants, not just winter migrants. um, any bird that passes that we can see as a food, we kill it, and that is a bad part of it. And we don't just do it for suppose we don't have food and then we kill these birds. No, it is a business. It is a business. There are people who act as a middleman and sell these birds to some good reputed family people for good amount of money. The first case that we saw this year, and we try to highlight the same, is the case of tundra swans. And during the migration, I'm being told that there were 5 to 7 of them, and 2 of them were killed before actually reaching their destination of Hokersar. These are the swans that were killed, and the investigations at my own level that we had done, um, you won't believe it that they were sold for just 5,000 rupees only. And the person who killed them, uh, although I don't have the exact information about it uh, was not able to he was not able to locate, and he was not wildlife department were not able to book them. Then we have the case of another case of domicile cranes that were killed in the Hokersar, in the adjoining areas of the Hokersar. I must tell my reputed listeners here that there are no records of domicile cranes in Kashmir. And then we find these photographs where they were killed in the catchment of Hokersar Lake. And this is the real shame that we are seeing and we are observing, and the conditions, the environment we are facing there. Then again, there was a photograph of western tragopan being killed by someone, and this is how the poaching is going on there. And I won't blame wildlife department for this. This is how we need to grow as a society. Nobody can just dictate the terms for you. You just have to grow up and understand the diversity that we have and the importance of conserving this diversity. Now, what I want actually, what birds of Kashmir as a, if I am representing birds of Kashmir, what are our future targets? First of all, it's not about the records and good photograph of birds only. We want to create an environmentally aware society. The society that knows, that values its biodiversity. And I want and we want to introduce birding to school children. Actually, I am a school teacher. I'm a teacher, and I have been at the university, deputed to university for higher studies. I'm on a leave and soon be joining back to my department. And I have this idea of opening up birding clubs at the school levels, where I will try to bring more children into birding. And then this is where I need help from birders all around the world, not just from India, all around the world. I want to establish a bird rescue center in Kashmir, because even we try our best to rescue birds, then we don't have good bird rescue center in Kashmir where birds can be treated and saved. So the half effort that we put in all goes into the waste. So my aim is to establish, or we can say that as birds of Kashmir, our aim is to establish bird rescue center in Kashmir. And I will need your expert advices. We are open to all the suggestions that you put in. And then the third target, to explore more of the Kashmir, because I still believe that Kashmir is all unexplored, and I can guarantee you in coming years we can have number of wonderful sightings and like boreal owls and snowy owls in Kashmir as well. Especially some inaccessible areas are there that I want to explore with you all. This is all from my end. Thank you very much.
Oh, Irfan, that was really, really very insightful and very, very interesting talk. And especially in for Kashmir, which is not such heavily birded, as I said in my introduction. So I think let's open for questions, at least for next 10, 15 minutes. But before anybody has a question, I have a question for you. Okay. I think the latest or let's say most recent and a decent publication about birds of Kashmir is basically by Bates and Lothar, who published a book called Breeding Birds of Kashmir in 1952, right? And they described about 150 breeding birds. So do you think that it's time for a revision, and would you like to look at that?
Yes, sir, surely. Surely. I think we have more than 150 species breeding in Kashmir, and more needs to be explored. And since we don't are that much of an expert in this field, and would need help from others as well to come here, we'll be more than happy to facilitate all the birders who come here to be part of us, and let's explore it together. That's what I can say.
Sure. Let's basically have some questions from the audience.
Yeah, Atul, we have questions coming in the chat box. You can read them from there and ask Irfan.
Okay. All right. Okay, so there is a question from Simajit. He want to initiate a birding club for school kids, and he's looking for your guidance, Irfan.
Sir, as I said, I'm always there for everyone who wants to come and contribute somehow. Let's build a society. Let's help each other. That's the main theme. That's the main motto of me being into the birding.
There's another question from Nikhil. I don't know which Nikhil is this, but not Devasar looks like. And he's asking that, what is the best time to visit Kashmir? I would say best seasons, different seasons for birding in Kashmir.
Yes, it is exactly, sir. It depends upon your target species. बट जो भी मैं ये कहूँगा, जो भी कश्मीर आता है, जो भी बर्डर कश्मीर आता है, आई टेल हिम that come to Kashmir as a for expeditions, not just keeping in your mind your target birds. The interesting is to explore more and more places, and I'm sure there must be some surprises coming our way.
Okay, so I have another question actually. The questions are pouring in. So how many birders you have in the club right now?
Sir, we are 20 to 30 active birders.
Okay.
And I have tried to connect to the people of different places. Like I have people from Kufara as well. I have people from South Kashmir, Pahalgam as well. I represent myself from Sim Valley. So we have people from Srinagar as well. So this is actually, sir, a network. But still, it's in its infancy, and I'm sure that I'll be getting along and keeping more people in my touch.
Okay. So I have another question from Mr. Murthy, and he's saying that he's asking any projects about nesting behavior and observations which should be of interest to the school children. Anything you would like to highlight about any bird?
Sir, there are actually projects going on. There are some research scholars working on nesting and behavior of birds already. We are there to facilitate them because uh, being an expert, we don't have experts in these field. But then once you start, I will give you an example. There was a scholar who was working on Kashmir flycatcher, and from for 2 years he was not able to locate the bird, and how he would have studied its behavior and other things. The thing is, we facilitate. Then the researcher can go ahead and we can be helping the best possible ways we can. But then there are projects already there. Researchers are there to investigate about these things. We are only facilitators and will facilitate whatever the ideas people will bring to us.
And there's another question from Kamaran. He's asking when exactly this crane was posed, which you showed the picture to us.
Sir, it was in October last year, actually.
In October, is it? Of course, the usual question, and Kashmir looks like a little bit of dark spot, that how to visit Kashmir, because it always gives a feeling that it's not safe. I can personally vouch, and Sorandeep is on the call. He can also vouch. We have been visiting Kashmir. Not only it's good for birding, but also as for about food. And fundamentally, I think what people want to know that how long one should spend for birding trip in Kashmir.
Sir, I think that it is quite safe for tourists actually. And then if you have the local connection, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. And we are there as a community. We are there for every birder who visits Kashmir. And then it depends upon the target species. But I think the basic birding in Kashmir, 5 to 6 days are enough to cover the basic bird species in Kashmir.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that, Irfan, because see, I did very short birding, not like a lot of other birders, spend a lot of time. But fundamentally, my experience is that 3 to 5 days, should give most of the birds in and around Kashmir, in and around basically Srinagar, not Kashmir. So, but I think that depends on a person how long a person would like to spend. Yeah. If there are no more questions, I think let's take this time to thank Irfan. And I think some of the key things, at least as a takeaway for most of us, and at least for me, was, this very interesting behavior which you described about nuthatch, Kashmir nuthatch. We were looking for this bird along with Shashank in winters. And very honestly, we were looking in pine trees. So now I realize that, we were looking at the wrong trees. We should have, looked for walnut trees, right? So that I think is a very good insight, Irfan, and that basically comes from experience. And I think another interesting point which you raised was, sharing of, nest by tawny oil and Eurasian jackdaw. I think that's another interesting thing, especially when crows are chasing and corvid family. Other one is, getting cozy to, tawny owl. I think that's a very, very interesting behavior for me. And I think last but not the least, next visit will be, evening tea with you guys, at the nature shop. Yeah. And
Sure.
so much. And thanks everyone for joining in for such interesting talk. And till we meet for the next talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you,
Thanks.
Irfan, for a wonderful talk. Just for all the listeners, next week, join us for a talk on the birds of the Northeast, where Ramki Srinivasan will be taking you on a journey of the northeastern states, along with the extreme rarities of the rare birds that are found over there. So see you all at 5 p.m. on 27 June. It's going to be the same Zoom meeting link. Thank you, everyone. I think, Atul, we can close that.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Thanks.